So it is officially National Moth Week this week, and I'm going to spend the whole week seeing how many species I can find. This is a week dedicated to observing as many moths as possible. This is to help scientists create distribution maps and also just generally learn about species. Anyone can get involved. You don't have to have any particular skill set. You can perhaps even just head out with a flashlight after dark, as most of our moth species are nocturnal. Or, if you want to get really involved, you could even look at getting a moth trap, because collecting all the data on our moths doesn't just have to be done in this 1 week. With over 2,500 species just in the UK alone, there is definitely a lot to find. National Moth Week, our trap was set up right next to our lake, which is just there. Looks like we've got a very busy trap today. We've already had lots fly off. Going near a lake definitely means water beetles. We also have a veneer moth there. I think that's our water veneer. We have a hoplar tree now, and we had lots and lots of our small ermines. So if you've seen a couple of the other videos, you'll know these guys can turn up in very high numbers, and we definitely saw quite a few today. And a poplar hawk moth. This was the very first hawk moth species we ever had on site, so it's always nice to see these out and about. We have a white point, who is in the same genus as some of our wainscot moths there. We have a clouded border. We have a tree lichen beauty. We have a silver Y, which is typically one of our day flying species there. We have a chocolate tip moth there. It's a very nice find. I always find they have very fluffy faces. We have not one, but 2 pebble prominents on the same carton there. We've got a red underwing here. Now, it might not be exactly our red underwing. There are a couple of rarer ones. We have a light crimson and a dark crimson underwing. So I have to do some research and figure out what one this one is. He's warming up his wings, ready to fly. So our Moth Week beginning was filmed on the 19th of July, and we had 133 different moths from 44 species, which gives us a starting running total of 134 moths and 44 species. These traps are from our second moth trapping day. So we are starting off with a moth trap. That is the first one I've ever done outside of work, pretty much. So this one was in my girlfriend's garden, and you can see we're starting off with a couple of Jersey tiger moths, as well as a nice marbled piercer there as well. So we do get quite a few of these piercers today, as well as a nice spectacle sitting on the wire for the trap there. Now, starting to open up our trap, let's see what we have. So it's looking quite busy for my first ever garden moth trap. We have a nice elephant hawk moth. So these are garden favourites because they love to feed on fuchsia, and we have quite a few more than one of those today. We have a nice triple set here, all in one tiny patch, and a bird's wing moth, which is a moth I have never seen before, so that was nice to see. And of course, what trap would be complete without small ermines? We have one of our yellow underwings here, a letter broad bordered. And at the bottom of our trap sitting there, we have a rosy footman. Nice colourful one. Now we have an ear moth, which is another moth that is brand new for me, so it turns out garden moth trapping is actually quite nice. And then we do have our nice golden burnished brass there too. Going through the trap even more, we have another elephant hawk moth. It's just nice to get quite a few, as well as one of our footmen here. A very small micro there too. And I was also lucky enough during the day to see a silver Y, one of our day-flying species. This must have been a female, as she was laying eggs on the undersides of the leaves, one at a time. Our second trap for Moth Week here was filmed on the 21st of July, with 72 moths from 27 species, giving us a running total of 210 moths from 65 species. This trap is from our third moth trapping day. Now, the very next day, I am running a moth trap in my own garden this time, very much closer to home, and you can already see there are so many Jersey tigers, especially for an urban garden. These guys just keep on popping up, so many of them here. Now we're starting off with a tree lichen beauty, another one that has been quite common for our Moth Week, a cloaked miner here, as well as a rusty dot pearl, I believe a migratory species. We have a light brown apple moth, a very common species, as well as a caddisfly, even though there's no big water bodies nearby. We have another apple moth in the carton, and of course even more small ermines. They seem to be absolutely everywhere. We do have one of our house moth species, as well as a dingy dowd. We have a shuttle-shaped dart, which is a personal favourite of mine, and carrying on with even more apple moths. We do have a silver Y. Maybe this one was laying eggs too, who knows? This one is one of our cloaked miner species there, as well as even more apple moths, a very common one for today's trap. We also have a nice plume moth, and also a Cosmopteryx micro moth. This third trap was run on the 22nd of July with a total of 85 moths from 27 species, giving us a running total of 295 moths and 75 species. So we are continuing our great moth hunt for Moth Week 2026. I believe this is day 6 of, I think, 9 days in total for our Moth Week, and I'm trying to collect as much data as I can. Now, apparently this data collection includes heavily monitoring an invasive species, with lots of the Oak Processionarry moth sitting on the outside of our trap. So this is an invasive species which does cause harm to humans, so it's not a good one to have. We had lots of the caterpillars this year, and evidently we have lots of the adults too. That seems to be the majority of what is on the outside of our trap here. We do have a tree lichen beauty there, so it's nice to have one that isn't the Oak Processionarry, and what looks like another tree lichen beauty there as well. So we do have a couple that aren't, but lots that are. We do also have some Jersey tiger moths on the outside. We've got 2 Jersey tiger moths there, and one on the other side. Looking at our first trap, we have an oak lantern. We have another one of our Oak Processionarry moths. We have a small ermine, a clouded border, Jersey tiger, a tree lichen beauty, and then one here that is a micro, I believe doesn't have a common name. It's called Ethmia quadrilella. So this one feeds off of comfrey, which we have quite a bit of in the park. And a personal favourite, which is the cream bordered green pea. Starting off our next trap, we have some more Jersey tigers. So we've got 3 just on the outside, and one has already flown off. And we've also got a rush veneer, then I believe a sallow kitten. So the first look in today's trap. Oh, something's just flown out already. Nothing on our lid there. We have some special ones. We are starting off our second trap today with a very battered and probably quite old goat moth. He's missing all of the scales on his head. which makes sense because I was catching them fairly frequently, probably about a month ago. So the fact that there's still one around after their peak emergence time means that this one is most probably quite old. So looking at our finds from our second trap, we have another one of the sallow kittens. We have a single dotted wave. We have a large yellow underwing. And we also had quite a bit more of the same. So we had another cream bordered green pea. We had lots and lots more ermine moths. We did keep on getting our white points, a couple of those, and then also a bulrush wainscot. So we had 2 of those today. We have one of our footmen, I'll just have to double check which one it is. Carried on with more and more Oak Processionarry moths. Then also one I'm not too familiar with. This one might be one of our wax moths. Fourth trapping session was on the 23rd of July with 220 moths from 51 species, adding to our running total of 515 moths from 99 species. So we are coming up to the final days of Moth Week now. We're going to see how many new species I can add to the tally. Got some micros on the lid. We have a rush veneer, one of our knot horns. And we've got a rusty dot pearl. So I believe the rusty dot pearl and the rush veneer there are both migrating species. So far it's mostly micros, nothing too out of the ordinary. However, this one does look quite funky. We have a straw dot at the bottom of the trap there. So not too much interesting in that one, but we do have one more trap to go through. Lifting up the lid, we have another riband wave. Oh, and one of our thorn moths, very nice. A mint moth, and then a couple of small ermines as well. I believe this might be the treble bar, which I think we've had on some of our sites, but not this one. So that should hopefully be a nice new addition. We have our pearl grass veneer. It definitely seems like we have a lot of the Oak Processionarry moth this year. I fear we're going to have very high numbers for those. Not too sure on this one. This one might be something exciting. Have to double check that one later. We have a flame shoulder moth. Right next to it is a pebble prominent. And then also in the tray we have a cloaked miner and lots of small ermines. And now we seem to have not one, not 2, but 3 Jersey tigers right next to each other on the same bit of tray. We've got one of my personal favourites, the white point. I think that's our second or third for this trap. We even have a click beetle. We even have a couple of our spongy moths. Our 5th trapping day was on the 24th of July with a whopping 308 moths. A very large number. This was from 64 different species, making our running total 823 moths from 121 species. So we are here for potentially our final day of moth trapping for Moth Week 2026. With a Jersey tiger there, they've shown up pretty much every single day. Tree-lichen beauty. I think perhaps one of our knot grass moths. We've got 2 yellow underwings for this trap so far. They are one of Europe's commonest moths. Despite that, we haven't seen too many of these over our Moth Week. We also have one of our wave moths. Looks like quite a small one in there. One thing I did notice today, I did have quite a lot of our knot horn moths. We had about 10 to 15 just in this one trap. Our mercury vapor, so our stronger trap, in a little slope by our lake. So we've got lots of bramble around here, lots of pendulous sedge, we've got lots of willows, some willow herb and even some buddleia. So hopefully we'll get quite a lot of things. I'm going to open this one up. I have now watched 4 Jersey tigers fly out of here before I could get a picture of them. Ooh, we have a poplar hawk moth, some more Oak Processionarry moths. We have got a very, very busy trap here. Got more Jersey tigers, more white points, one of our family from the blood veins. Here we have a yellow shell moth. And we also have a box tree moth as well. This one is an invasive. The caterpillars swarming box trees and box bushes, which makes them quite a pest for gardeners. We also have a copper underwing. This is our first for a trap this year, already shaking its wings to try and fly off. We have a bordered beauty. Whilst packing the moth trap away, I've found a brimstone moth. So most of you guys might have heard about the brimstone butterfly. This is our moth variant, the brimstone moth. Our last trapping day here, the 25th of July, had 295 moths, so almost as many as the last trap, with 75 different species, which is higher than our last one. This is our best day for species by far, with a total of 1,118 moths for 142 species, which is our grand total for our entire moth week, which is definitely a lot of species. Now, if you enjoyed seeing how many moths I could get in one big weekly challenge, feel free to like, share and subscribe, because I'm sure there'll be many more moths in future.